So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. And in today's video, we have the Utah Jazz. It was a pretty interesting offseason in Utah. This was a team that just a season ago won only 31 games, and they had a really big decision to make about their franchise player in Lauri Markkanen. Now, many people believe that he could possibly be a trade target for many teams who are looking to get back into contention, but ultimately, him and the Jazz decided to end up agreeing to an extension worth up to $238 million over 5 years. So this is a Utah team and a franchise that has obviously been rebuilding ever since the Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert trades just a few off seasons ago, and I do think that this is a team that has a nice young foundation. I absolutely loved their draft they just had this past summer, and I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if a championship was in the cards today. And this is it. You guys know it. This is the final regular rebuild here of 2K25. After this one, this completes all 30 teams officially, meaning we are now looking for new series, challenges, historic rebuilds. I know I've given this same speech a dozen times, but I really want to hear from you guys down below in the comment section. Let me know what you want me to do next. Of course, I have my own ideas, the things I do year after year, but anything you guys have that is new, fun, creative, whatever it may be, let me hear it down below. So excited for this one today. It is a good way to kind of cap off our 30th and final rebuild. Let's get into it. Outside of the Lauri Markkanen extension, there weren't a lot of major moves for this team this offseason. Of course, I think that is kind of smart when you're in a position like the Utah Jazz are, and you're obviously not trying to really expedite the rebuild. I don't think it's necessarily the worst idea in the world not to take many big swings. But they did make some small moves. Of course, this is a roster we are going to talk about right now, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now, here at the point guard spot, Keyonte George, 20 years old. Of course, we can take a look at his numbers from his rookie season just a year ago, and he is a really promising young player, in my opinion. He is going to be somebody who's going to be one of the focal points of today's video, and if the progression goes well enough, may even end up starting all 3 years. So I'm very excited about Keyonte George, certainly one of the nice young bright spots here on this team. They ended up bringing in Patty Mills, who at 36 years old, I'm surprised, wanted to do a one-year deal with the Jazz. Of course, veteran point guard, NBA champion, and I guess just kind of riding it out one last time. So he's in Utah. I'm not sure how much he'll play today or if he'll actually stay on the team, but we'll keep an eye on it. Isaiah Collier ended up slipping till the end of the first round. I thought he was going to be maybe late teens, maybe like, I don't know, something like that. But he ended up slipping a little bit. They ended up getting him at number 29 overall this past year. 6'4" out of USC at a 70 overall right now. That overall is definitely gonna have to go up a little bit, but I've seen his development before. Typically ends up being pretty good. We moved to the shooting guard spot. Colin Sexton was another name I thought they could consider moving this offseason. Of course, they ended up not doing so. I like his contract quite a bit. The 80 overall at 25 years old is also nice as well. So he's kind of right in that sweet spot where you don't necessarily have to move him because he's young enough where you can probably kind of keep him through the rebuild, but you also, of course, got to keep an eye on the contract. So he's going to be my starter heading into year one here today. Jordan Clarkson, thought he was going to get traded. I think they tried to trade him. Nobody wanted him, so Jordan Clarkson, 32 years old, has won a Sixth Man of the Year before. Actually, I think he's won 2 of them. But he is now here and definitely going to be keeping an eye on him. Svi Mykhailiuk, my GOAT, obviously just won a championship with the Celtics. I was sad to see him go, but of course super happy he did get a payday. Probably not going to be in the rotation very regularly, but he is a guy that can be a really good player to throw in the game for, like, I don't know, garbage time. I don't really know how to word that nicely. We head to the small forward spot. Of course, Lauri Markkanen. We discussed him a little bit in the intro. I just don't know why. I had a very, very strong feeling he was going to end up with, like, the Warriors. That did not end up happening. I thought Danny Ainge was going to pull the trigger on a deal. He ended up not doing so, and then they re-signed him. So I'm excited to see what Markkanen can do for us here today. He is a guy I do trade for from time to time in these rebuilds, and of course it is nice already having him on this roster. The backup small forward spot, couple different options for us here. Starting out with Bryce Sensabaugh. He's a 28th overall pick back in 2023. Taking a look at his rookie numbers from last season, not too terrible. I'd like the shooting splits to go up a little bit, but ultimately at a 72 overall and only 20 years old, there's a lot of room for growth. Now, Cody Williams is going to play. He was the 10th overall pick. I am excited to see what he can do. I like his size. I like his build. Of course, only 180 pounds at 6'8". You'd like to maybe put on a little bit more weight, but as of now, I'm pretty excited to see what Cody Williams can do here in today's video. And then Johnny Juzang is actually on a multi-year contract. He's only 23. He's just kind of the 4th guy at the small forward spot right now, so not 100% sure what we'll do with him, but he's on the roster as of now. I'm hoping Taylor Hendricks can get some more minutes this year. I think there is certainly a possibility, especially in this rebuild when we're not going to be great for at least year one, so excited to see how he ends up developing. And then the center spot, a very interesting position as it stands right now, because John Collins is not going to be a long-term piece for me. I don't think John Collins is going to be a long-term piece for the Jazz in real life as well. Walker Kessler is a guy who is apparently being shopped around. Apparently the Jazz want 2 first-round picks for him. Doesn't seem like anybody's willing to give them that. But he's only 23. He's been in the league for 2 years, going to be entering year 3. Of course, drafted originally by the Minnesota Timberwolves, then was included in the Rudy Gobert deal. I think he's a nice defensive center. Is he a superstar? No, but he is a nice option, and he is young enough where he can continue through the rebuild. You got Drew Eubanks, brought him in on a 2-year deal. Good depth piece. And then Kyle Filipowski ended up slipping to round 2. They took him number 2 overall in that second round, 7 foot tall out of Duke. Many people have varying opinions on him. He today is going to likely just be a depth piece for me. So that is the team. Of course, there's a reason they only won 31 games just a season ago. There's obviously a lot of work to do here for us today, but I don't think we'll have a ton of moves before year 1, but maybe 1 or 2. Our first trade of today's video is going to come with the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a deal that is going to land us Rui Hachimura. He is ultimately going to be a nice rotation piece for us. He's going to be coming off the bench, whether it's the backup 3, the backup 4. I'm excited to have him. And then Gabe Vincent also coming back in this deal. He's not necessarily somebody that's going to see the floor, but he is a nice multi-year contract and certainly a tradable asset at some point in time. So John Collins, Patty Mills, both being sent to Los Angeles in this deal. They're both expiring players, and honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of either of them. For different reasons. John Collins, I just don't think he's very good. And, of course, Patty Mills. I really don't know why he signed with Utah. He didn't want to take a flyer on a team that's, contending, try to get another ring. I don't really know. But we're doing this deal here with the Lakers. Thank you very much, Los Angeles. We've gone ahead and finalized the rotation after 1 trade. This is how it's going to shake out for year 1 here in Utah. Now, something to note before we go ahead and talk about this rotation. There might be a few surprises in here for you, and you might not understand why I'm making the moves that I did. But I want to emphasize that our first-round pick is currently owned by the Oklahoma City Thunder. I have absolutely no idea what trade that dates back to, but it is top 10 protected. So if we are in the higher end of the lottery, we are likely going to have our draft pick. And if we end up also sucking next year and it's in the top 8, we will have it once again. Now, that being said, here's how it's going to look. Not a lot of surprises 1 through 5. Going to be Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Taylor Hendricks, and Walker Kessler. I don't know if there's any major surprises in there. God, whoever's doing the editing needs to figure out what the hell's going on with Walker Kessler's head. And they also screwed the same thing up here with Keontae George. Is it really that hard? Let's talk about the bench. Rui Hachimura going to be playing the backup 4. He is going to be my 6th man off the bench. Jordan Clarkson, the veteran backup shooting guard here. 18 minutes tonight. We obviously drafted Cody Williams. Not we did, but they drafted Cody Williams 10th overall, and he is definitely going to be playing a decent amount of minutes for us. And then Isaiah Collier and Kyle Filipowski going to be rounding out the 10-man rotation. So although Williams, Collier, and Filipowski are not the highest overall backup small forward, backup point guard, and backup center we have on this team in a season that I am kind of trying to tank, I would guess, and is basically just a development year for all intensive purposes. They are going to be seeing the floor. So Drew Eubanks, Gabe Vincent, Svi Mikhailuk, they're just not really going to play. So I guess the good news for us is we have a pretty good head coach here in Will Hardy. I am a fan, and I am hoping that maybe he can do something good with this team. I just hope we're still in the top 10 at the end of the day. So that's the group for now. We obviously are going to have a busy offseason ahead of ourselves, but I do not want to get too far ahead. I will see you guys at the end of the first season. Throughout some of these rebuilds, there have been a few different times that we end up being a little bit better than I expected in the first or second season. That is not the case today. We were worse than I actually thought we were going to be. We won 13 games, which probably a safe bet is the worst record in the NBA at 13-69. I mean, I didn't see this one coming, I'm not going to lie. Luke is your MVP, Reza Shea, Amen Thompson, Wembenyama, Amen Thompson, SGA, Chris Finch, Coach of the Year. Yeah, so it was not a great season. There is no way to spin this into anything positive. I just hope the development of some of our young guys went well. I mean, only Portland Trailblazers only won 3 more games. But we definitely had the worst record in the league, and we are going to have tied for the number 1 overall odds at the number 1 overall pick. Lauri Markkanen did lead us in scoring. It was Colin Sexton. Keontae George was certainly one of the bright spots for us, maybe a most improved player candidate for him, but didn't obviously end up winning it. Jordan Clarkson, Hachimura, Hendricks, Kessler, Filipowski, Collier, and then Williams. Rebounds per game were led by Kessler, and assist was Keontae George. So 13 wins doesn't make the play in the West? No, does not. Let's zoom through the playoffs. It's going to be the Warriors and the Bucks in the finals, and you got the Bucks winning it all, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, his 2nd career championship, 2nd career finals MVP. Okay, a lot of names retiring. It's pretty much the same guys as always. We'll hit jersey retirements. We'll do the draft lottery, which is, pretty much unarguably the biggest moment of the video for us so far. We also do have the Cleveland pick, which is going to be unprotected. That dates back, obviously, to the Donovan Mitchell trade, and our pick ends up falling to 5 because, you know what? Of course it fucking does. so I feel like the freaking Pistons right now. I stand by thinking Will Hardy's a good coach, but if we turn this thing around, at least on paper, in the offseason and we still really suck next year, he'll be, expired anyways in terms of his contract, so maybe we'll move on then. But I'm going to hang on to him for now. I know it is, maybe not the best idea in the world to keep hanging on to the guy that just led your team to 13 wins, but we are doing it. So we have number 5, number 10, and then number 29 from the Minnesota Timberwolves. That, of course, from the Rudy Gobert trade. So there is something we can do with this pick. I mean, if we just take a look at some of the names available here, Cooper Flagg is, of course, a dream, but I do get him a decent amount. So I'll probably pass on him and Ace Bailey. Probably Dylan Harper as well. I got him in a video the other day. So maybe a guy like VJ Edgecombe. Shooting guard is maybe one of those positions that we are considering a few different possibilities. Maybe a little bit of an uncertain future for Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson getting up there in age. So if VJ Edgecombe's sitting there, I'll probably make a move for him. So let's just do this together. Let's just see who goes. Let's see. Number 1 overall is going to be Cooper Flagg. He goes to the Portland Trailblazers. Ace Bailey, I'm surprised the Memphis Grizzlies were bad enough to have the number 2 overall pick. Dylan Harper goes 3 to the Hornets. Then wait, do I want to... Don't screw me. Fuck, they screwed me. Okay, let's just see. Can I get him? Houston, please. Houston Rockets, please, please. Thank you. All right, I'm not doing this. How about I give you 29 and... God, that was way too easy. All right, they take Nolan Traore. And then we do have the 10th overall pick as well, which I will use to draft. Igor Demine wouldn't be the worst option in the world. He's a guy I've drafted before, Jalil Bethea, but that's another shooting guard. Let's draft Igor Demine. I think he's a guy that ends up being pretty decent in these sims, so why the hell not? So 77 and 76 overall, respectively. Kessler, George, Hendricks, and Sensabaugh all coming back. And we are certainly going to be in the market to make a big trade of some sort, right? This is not really the team and the core that I want to hang on to in its entirety. If we look at the money situation, I feel like throughout these rebuilds, I've just never had any money available heading into really any offseason. And it's kind of unfortunate, but it's just the way the new CBA is honestly set up. So let's go ahead and make some trades. Okay, we just pulled off a deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves and landed ourselves a little bit of an upgrade at the power forward spot. Now, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Bryce Sensabaugh, Svi Mikhailuk, Drew Eubanks, and our own first-round pick in 2029 were all sent to Minnesota, and we landed ourselves Julius Randle. Now, I don't think Julius Randle is some sort of superstar or really anybody that's going to turn this team from 13 wins into like 70, but at this point in time, in a 3-year rebuild, you kind of have to make decisions pretty quickly, and although I think Taylor Hendricks is a pretty good player and will probably continue to develop, he's just probably not quite good enough right now. So Julius Randle, he's 30, veteran player, obviously has some experience, and locked up on a long-term deal as well. So I'm definitely excited about that, and welcome to the team. I'm very much aware this one may piss off a few Utah Jazz fans, and for that I understand. I probably should not be trading you the former 10th overall pick from just a season ago, but I am going to do it. Now, we need a little bit of an upgrade at our center spot. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that adding Nick Claxton to this team is really going to put us completely over the top, but it is marginal upgrades that are going to help this team actually be competitive. So ultimately, Williams was a little bit expendable after we went ahead and drafted Igor Demine. Obviously, Lauri Markkanen's going to still start at our small forward spot. So that's just kind of my thought process right there. I'm sure Cody Williams is going to turn into a quality NBA player, but here in 3-year rebuilds, I don't really have that time, unfortunately. So Brooklyn actually takes that straight up without us giving up a single draft pick, and that is cool with me. So Filipowski's just not really going to play, unfortunately. Walker Kessler will remain the backup. Again, I know 2 defensive-minded centers maybe isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it is fine by me for now. It's going to be Randle and Hendricks here at the power forward spot. Markkanen and Demine. VJ Edgecombe's actually going to start. Colin Sexton will slide to the bench unit. Very much aware he's going to be an impending free agent. And then George, and I'm still going to let Collier run the backup point guard spot. So we're not going to turn into a serious contender here in one offseason, but hopefully, again, marginal improvements step by step. I'll see you guys with the rotation. Here's how things ended up shaking out for year 2. There were a couple pretty big changes to this team. Of course, we have 3 new starters in this lineup, and after 13 wins a season ago, I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world. So Keontae George remains our starting point guard. VJ Edgecombe, who we just, I guess, drafted 4th overall, technically, going to be taking over the starting shooting guard spot. Lauri Markkanen remains the 3. Julius Randle now our 4, and Nick Claxton now our 5. The bench unit has also improved. I am not afraid to say it. Colin Sexton moves into a 6-man role. Walker Kessler now moves into the backup center spot. Taylor Hendricks now moves into the backup power forward spot. We drafted Igor Demine, and then Isaiah Collier rounding out the 10-man rotation. So I think we obviously trimmed some of the depth we we had. Like last year, it felt like there were some guys that were good enough to probably get minutes that just really didn't have those minutes available. But I'm happy with this team. I think we should be maybe playing late seed in the playoffs, something like that. But we will obviously find that out together. So I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2. I thought we maybe had a chance to be a playoff team this year, and unfortunately that was not the case. 32-50 is the record. Now, pretty much anything would have been better than last season, but it is not nearly enough, so we are going to have to make some pretty drastic and major changes this offseason. Luke, another MVP. Dylan Harper, your Rookie of the Year. Jalen Johnson, now member of the Toronto Raptors. Your 6th man. Wemby wins Depoy. So I don't remember the last time I saw somebody besides Victor Wembanyama win a Depoy. I think Chet Holmgren maybe like a week and a half ago. Dyson Daniels, most improved. Cade Cunningham, Clutch Player of the Year, and 60 wins there in Dallas. Gives Jason Kidd a Coach of the Year. So, yeah, nope, not a great season. No, no way to spin that one. We end up, wow, 13 seed here in the West. Now, the good news is, according to Fanspo anyways, our first round pick this year is protected for selections 1 through 8. So 2K might not have that accurate because they kind of suck at the whole pick protections thing. But if our pick's in the top 8, I am taking that shit back. Let me just tell you that. Wow, the Lakers really sucked. I guess LeBron did retire. And then here's a look at the Eastern Conference if you'd like to pause. Now let's talk about some of the numbers because this is going to tell me a lot in terms of who is staying and who is leaving. Randall, Markkanen, George, Edgecombe, Sexton, Claxton, Demeen, Hendricks, Kessler, and then Collier. Rebounds per game, it was Mr. Claxton, and then assists, it was Keontae George. Okay. Unfortunate, I don't remember the last time I didn't make the playoffs in year 2, so we are basically going to be going from lottery team to hopefully championship team in one offseason. Dallas wins it all. Luka, your finals MVP. Okay, taking a look at the retirements there, it looks like Eric Gordon was here. I didn't even know that, but he was. Staff retirements, Popovich, Collin and Crick, Kevin Durant. Wow. Insane. And then the draft lottery, which is probably the biggest moment for us so far. Now, you'll see we are currently projected to, okay, number 5. I didn't realize it was that bad, but okay. Hopefully it stays in the top 8. If I skim this and it's at number 9, I might put a hole in my fucking monitor. I'm not going to lie to you. Oh my God, it jumped up to 1. That, my friends, is the kind of luck we need right now. That is huge. Now, we have a big decision to make on Will Hardy. Do we offer him an extension? My gut reaction is telling me no. This feels like a good Stauffer video. It's been a little while since I've gotten him. And, of course, we kind of need a perfectly rated coach. So, I'm also going to offer Mazzulla and Kidd just in case. But if Stauffer accepts, he's my guy. Shit. Okay, Stauffer's still mulling. Now is another offer. Oh, I'm fucking screwed, aren't I? Okay. Fuck. I don't know who Preston Bryant is, but those offensive and defensive ratings are probably about as good as he's going to get. Diego Cabello? Maybe a possibility as well. All right, there's a few guys here with, a little something. I could just bring back Will Hardy, but it's kind of hard for me to argue to do that after the 2 seasons we just had. So I'm not saying the team was perfect, but all right, I'll throw Preston Bryant a little bit of money here, and I'll also throw Diego Cabello a little bit of money as well. So, okay, we have our choice. I don't know. I guess I'll go with Cabello. It doesn't really matter. His potential's a little higher, and he's a little bit more balanced offensive and who really gives a shit? So, yeah, Diego, welcome to Utah. Okay, and as we approach the 2026 NBA draft, I will be taking back my number 1 overall pick. Just gonna do what Fanspo says. I will actually read it to you verbatim right now. Let's just do this together. Outgoing draft picks. Utah's first round pick to Oklahoma City protected for selections 1 through 10 in 2025 and 1 through 8 in 2026. If Utah has not conveyed a first round pick to OKC by 2026, then Utah's obligation to Oklahoma City will be extinguished. Thank you very much. Give me my fucking draft pick. And with this number 1 overall pick, we are taking a big swing and adding a star here in LaMelo Ball. I do not want anybody to be confused. This is not a Keontae George problem. He has been good and will probably continue to be good if I had him in the starting lineup next season. But I've come to kind of terms and understanding about these rebuilds that if you want to go ahead and win championships and stuff, you need to be pretty much as good as possible at every position. And I would be an idiot not to do that considering the success we've had so far. So I'm not exactly a fan of giving up Claxton and number 1 overall, but LaMelo Ball is really good in the sim, and we're getting ourselves Tyus Jones as well. So welcome to the team, which means we're not going to be drafting this year, which is completely fine by me. So George, Hendricks, and Collier are all going to be brought back. Walker Kessler will be qualified. Now, if we are going to keep him as our center is certainly TBD, but I am going to obviously explore pretty much all possibilities when it comes to this group. So Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, welcome back. We are definitely not done making trades. I'm going to see if there's a way for us to land Jalen Green here in a deal with the Houston Rockets. Now, I know we just technically re-signed Colin Sexton. Call it a sign-in trade. Call it 2K BS. Call it whatever you want. But I need to go ahead and make an upgrade here at my shooting guard spot. Now, Tyus Jones, Collier, and Filipowski are all in here to hopefully make the money work. And I do have some draft capital, so hopefully... Wow, thank you very much, actually. Oh, he was with the Nets? I thought he was with the Rockets. Oh, okay. I'm getting all confused right now. But Keontae George, obviously going to back up LaMelo. It's going to be Jalen Green. And VJ Edgecombe, who had a really good rookie season. This isn't, not a shot at him and not the reason we're making an upgrade. It's simply just an overall and kind of a numbers game at this point. But he'll now slide into what will likely be a sixth-man role for us. So we're good with Markkanen and Demeen. We're good with Randall and Hendricks. And then I'm going to consider a possibility at upgrading our center, but here's the problem, especially with the center spot. It's so weird. And I know I've given this speech before, but let's just talk about this realistically. Everybody from Chet Holmgren up is basically impossible to trade for. I get Bam from time to time. Sabonis is making way too much money. I've traded for Tingus Pingus sometimes, but he's also making too much money. Apparently, I get Şengün way too much. I don't know what it is with Jaren Jackson Jr. in this game. He's basically untouchable, which is very strange. And then obviously Jared Allen, Miles Turner. Like, I'd consider a Miles Turner deal. Except we just don't. 913,000. Okay, you know what? Maybe I could actually make that work. Because I would take Miles Turner. But also what I want to do first is actually find myself a backup center. So if I sign Zach Collins, which would actually be nice. He'd be a really quality backup center. Okay. And then somebody for like $1 million, who's the highest overall. Okay, it looks like it's going to be Morris. Again, I know nobody really likes it when I do this, and I'm sorry about it. Fuck you, Monte. But I need to because I basically don't have any other options at this point. So let's just go ahead. Seriously? Oh my God. This game drives me effing crazy. Let's go ahead and make the deal and hopefully land ourselves Miles Turner. Again, Miles Turner's not the end-all be-all, but he certainly provides us a little bit more spacing, and he's a little bit of an upgrade in my opinion at this starting center spot. So take whatever draft picks you want. Oh my God, that was with Brooklyn again. I feel like we've screwed Brooklyn, but yeah, major changes were necessary. Major changes were made. We have had zero success so far. We haven't even made the play-in tournament. And obviously that just cannot be acceptable throughout a 3-year rebuild. So this offseason, obviously, a lot of moving parts once again, but they were all moving parts that in my opinion were extremely necessary. So this is just a completely revamped team. It doesn't even feel like the same group we started out this video with. And for that, my apologies. But at the end of the day, I'm here to win championships, not make anybody happy. It is LaMelo Ball, Jalen Green, Lauri Markkanen, Julius Randle, and Miles Turner. It's an impressive starting five. It's a starting five with a lot of size. I mean, if you look at this team, LaMelo Ball is what, 6'7", something like that. I mean, Jalen Green's kind of normal at 6'4", but 7 feet tall, basically 7 feet tall, 6'9", 6'8", whatever it is. So I don't know why I'm going on about their height. They're all NBA players. Keontae George, who I kind of feel bad for, is now going to slide into a 6-man role. VJ Edgecombe, also kind of feel bad for. He'll be our backup shooting guard. Taylor Hendricks remains. Igor Demeen, and then Zach Collins rounding out the 10-man rotation, of course, under new head coach Diego Cabello. So hopefully this is good enough. It's kind of a shot in the dark. I don't know how many times I've basically gone from like out of the playoffs entirely to championship in one offseason. But if it is going to happen, I hope it's right now. I'll see you guys at the end of year 3. Let me tell you, I don't know if I've ever been so happy to see a positive record, and it's a pretty good one. 65-17 is how we wrap up year 3. Now let's talk about our MVP, because Luka wins another one. This time is in an Atlanta Hawks jersey. Of course, if you're, hoop head, you probably remember the Atlanta Hawks are actually the team that drafted Luka Doncic, and then of course traded him for Trae Young on draft night to the Dallas Mavericks. AJ Demancia, your Rookie of the Year. Cade Cunningham is now coming off the bench in Detroit. I'm pretty sure he won a Clutch Player of the Year last season, so yep, that's what Detroit does. They make him come off the bench now. Wembanyama wins a D-Point. Nolan Traore, Most Improved. Steph Curry, Clutch Player of the Year. And our guy, Diego, leading the charge for us here in Utah to 65 wins. And we are a 1 seed, which is very positive news. And hopefully means it's a championship time. It's the best record in the league. It's not quite worst to first, but if you want to count us landing the #1 overall pick, maybe it is worst to first. Okay, LaMelo Ball, Julius Randle, Jalen Green, Lauri Markkanen, Turner, Edgecombe, George, Demeen, Collins, and then Hendricks. Rebounds per game was Turner, and then assists was going to be LaMelo. Okay, us in Houston here, round 1. Certainly not my favorite matchup in the world. They have moved on from some of their pieces they currently have, but they're pretty good. Especially, everybody in the West is pretty good. It feels like the majority of the teams in the West would be a fun playoff series. We do sweep them, though. Golden State, Steph Curry at 39 years old. First round series, put up 34 points a game. Okay, fuck you. Brandon Pachepsky, Trey Murphy, Jonathan Kuminga, TJD. You got Mitchell Robinson, Tobias Harris. Oh my God. All right, I think Steph is probably the best player in the series, even at 38, but I think we are a much better team as a whole, and we go out and prove that. And now here come the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are going to be a pain in the ass, and now they have Amen Thompson as well, so shit. I mean, they basically have 490-plus overalls in their starting five. If this is the end of the road for us, I wouldn't be super surprised. I am still going to be optimistic, though. We currently are up 2-1. They tie it up at 2-2. We go up 3-2. Don't do this. Win this game. Thank God. Holy shit. And now we are taking on Luka and the Atlanta Hawks here in the NBA Finals. So, Trae Young is obviously gone. Josan Sanan, Reza Shea, Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Smith. I feel like, why would Luka leave Dallas for this? Like, respectfully, of course. I don't know. Again, no doubt they have the best player in the series, but I'm not really super terrified of this team, if that really makes a lot of sense. So we're obviously up 3-0 right now, and we are likely going to be winning this championship, barring an epic collapse. But fuck it, I'd rather win on my home floor anyways. Let's do this Celtics style. Let's see if we can win the first 3 and then lose Game 4, get blown out, and then hopefully go back to our home floor and win Game 5 and capture the Larry O'Brien. So this one's actually kind of close. Going back and forth. Fuck. I let it go too far. God damn it. All right, fuck. I just screwed. I should have hopped in with like 2.5 minutes. I screwed myself. Okay, now I'm getting nervous. Now I am getting nervous. Because if you watched yesterday's video, I went up 3-0 in the finals in year 3 and also went on a similar path as to this. I did win Game 7, but I am a lot more nervous right now. I'm fucking nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you. Good start. Okay. Why they... No. 2K, do not bullshit me like this today. Please don't. Okay. Fuck. I hopped in way too late, but I'll see you guys in there. We're obviously going to be winning this one. I hopped in way too late. Again, my apologies for that. This court just pisses me off. It just doesn't look good. We're obviously going to be winning a championship here. I don't know why 2K does this shit to me from time to time that, like, makes me go all the way to 7 games when I was up 3-0. But as long as they still let me win, it doesn't really bother me too much. So, LaMelo, okay. Good job. I guess we can kind of chit-chat about the Jazz real quick. This is a team that's not going to be good this season. I'm happy they did end up keeping Lauri Markkanen because I think he is one of those pieces that's obviously not young anymore. He's a member of the 2017 draft. 2017, right? He's 2017? No, he's 2018, I think. Am I being an idiot right now? I think he's 2018. Nonetheless, I think he is in the point of his career where he could do good things with the Jazz for like years to come, maybe back when they're being competitive. So I'm glad they didn't force the issue. I kind of hate when teams completely bottom out. I understand it's necessary sometimes, but I think the Jazz have been like bad enough, if you will, for a decent amount now. I mean, obviously post Mitchell and post Gobert, they've basically been rebuilding. So good for you for keeping, I guess, your franchise player and locking him up long term. So I'm not going to sit through the final ceremony because it takes 18 fucking years, and who's got that kind of time these days? So they'll hit that 3. I'm going to go down and hit a shot quickly, hopefully. So let's give LaMelo the ball and let's go hit some shot. This is it no matter what. So LaMelo, little step back. Beautiful. Good night. This video ended up being pretty crazy. We end up getting that championship in year 3 and very happy we traded for LaMelo Ball because he is our finals MVP. Okay, not the way I thought this one was going to go. I thought I was going to keep a lot more of this young core that they have here kind of intact, and hopefully they were going to be the ones to kind of lead us to the championship. But of course, in the 3-year rebuilds, that's always a little bit more challenging. So I know what you're all going to say, just do a 5-year rebuild. Those come at the end of the 2K cycle, I promise you. So yeah, that is it for the regular rebuilds. I hope you guys have enjoyed them. I have had a lot of fun going through basically all 30 teams. Actually, it's technically 32 because I had to do the Timberwolves and the New York Knicks again because they decided to blow up my Friday night at about 10 p.m. and make that big blockbuster trade. So they are done twice, but everybody else is done once, and this was fun. So excited to see what you guys have for me in the comments section. I'm always open to pretty much anything and everything. So whatever you guys want to see, let me know down there. But thank you guys for all the support so far through 2K25. I have been enjoying it. So that's it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.